Today, banks still behaving badly. The DFA daily to the 26th of October 2021. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics, where I've noticed posts covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian flavour. In today's show, we look at how banks are debanking some of their customers, the formal end of CBA's Dollarmite scheme, and how digital nudges are being used to influence us, plus insights from the upcoming so-called Great Resignation. But first, one of the big four banks has admitted to cutting off services to around 40,000 customers over the last 2.5 years. Responding to questions from the House of Representatives Standing Committee on Economics, NAB gave details of its processes for debanking when an institution withdraws banking services from a customer. Between May 2019 and September 2021, NAB estimated it had exited around 40,000 customers with active accounts, citing Know Your Customer (KYC) identification issues or other financial crime or fraud issues. And while the answers did not specify how many of the customers were individuals or businesses, the bank explained that in 2019 it had committed to strengthening its KYC processes for non-individual customers, for example, companies, trusts and partnerships. And NAB also pointed to its Financial Crime Remediation Unit, which has a dedicated program of ensuring that all relevant KYC data for an identified cohort is captured and housed in one place. Having correct and up-to-date information about our customers is important for NAB to comply with relevant laws and regulations, including our obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Act, NAB said. In the 4 years to June 2021, the bank spent around $816 million on improving its financial crime and fraud controls, and of that, around $640 million was allocated to financial crime improvements, which included expenditure on staff, technology, controls and operations. The number of people dedicated to managing financial crimes risks had grown from around 200 in 2018 to 1,000 in 2019, before hitting 1,200 by the end of 2020. And as at the end of August 21, NAB had 1,500 personnel working in the division. And the bank's also established a financial crime change program aimed at transforming how the bank manages crime risk, as well as a customer establishment program changing how new customers are onboarded. Now, last week, a Senate committee called for the government to develop a formal process for fintechs and other businesses to follow after being debanked, which would involve the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. The final report from the Select Committee for Australia as a financial and technology centre stated fintechs had tended to be left in the dark after being dumped by banks, with more needing to be done to ensure there are avenues of recourse for those who have been treated unfairly. A number of fintechs, including a lender, had accused the banks of cutting off services due to anti-competitive motives. As such, Revolut Australia, which is in the process of applying for its own banking licence, said that it had experienced risk aversion related to foreign exchange and remittance activity from the banks. An extreme example was peer-to-peer Bitcoin exchange Bitcoin Babe, which told the committee it had encountered debanking or had been denied access to banking products from 90 banks. Committee Chair and Liberal Senator Andrew Bragg called the practice of debanking debilitating. It destroys the ability of Australia's small businesses to disrupt and deliver new ideas, he said. And the Big Four banks had previously given reasons to the Senate committee around why they might decide to debank businesses, which included financial crime risks, commercial considerations, fraud or other convictions, or businesses becoming deregistered. In July, Westpac confessed to debanking around 8 fintechs in the year to May, explaining that they had either operated in high-risk areas or had higher risk aspects to their businesses. And separately, CBA has ditched its 90-year Dollarmite program after the state government's banning of school banking schemes. The New South Wales government is the latest to jump on board and ban bank-run marketing schemes in classrooms after ASIC handed down a scathing review into school banking programs, finding they failed to teach children financial literacy or the value of money. Following the release of the report, Queensland, Victoria and the ACT quickly moved to ban the programs. And CBA announced over the weekend that because of ASIC's review and these government decisions, that it will can its school banking program nationally. We're disappointed with the position taken by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission and subsequent decisions by some state and territory governments to take that choice away from individual schools and parents, CBA Group Executives of Retail Banking Services Angus Sullivan said. For 90 years, the Commonwealth Bank has been supporting the financial well-being of young Australians, and we are committed to continuing to provide the program and services they need. In fact, CBA will now shift its school financial education program to a new website called CommBank Youth Hub. Choice Chief Executive Alan Kirkland said that in reality, Dollarmite was a very effective marketing program, signing up primary school-aged children to a lifelong relationship with the CBA. When the corporate regulator ASIC reviewed programs like Dollarmite's in 2020, it found no evidence of any positive impact on financial literacy. Instead, it found they used sophisticated marketing techniques to target vulnerable customers, he said. An investigation by Choice found that Dollarmites were sticky and that 46% of Australians opened their first account with CBA while 1/3 stuck with the bank into adulthood. One of the most important lessons that children need to learn about banking is to shop around for the best deal. Letting the Commonwealth Bank sign up children as customers at a very young age is the very opposite of that, he added. In fact, in 2018, Choice awarded Dollarmites a Shonky Award. Now, new research from CBA's financial wellbeing team shows how instant and well-timed digital nudges about financial trade-offs can impact customers' decisions on how to allocate funds, with the potential to significantly improve a person's financial well-being. As part of the research, CBA customers who consistently incurred credit card interest were prompted to think about how they could best use their annual tax refund. Along with messages to consider making a credit card repayment, additional information was provided to customers about the benefits of reducing their debt, including savings on interest or avoiding late fees. These prompts or digital nudges helped deliver a shift in customer behaviour. Customers who engaged with the credit card repayment nudge repaid an average of $541 more in the months following their tax refund. Commonwealth Bank's Chief Data and Analytics Officer, Dr. Andrew McMullen, said, "Behavioural science tells us we view windfall gains, such as our annual tax refund, differently compared to our regular income. We tend to mentally put those funds into a free money category, which means we're more likely to spend those funds without considering opportunity costs. Our behavioural economics team have been looking into the importance of providing customers with timely information about trade-offs when making financial decisions, and this recently led us to launch a new feature in the CommBank app. The new feature lets customers know in real time when their tax refund hits their account and provides a targeted message to encourage customers to consider how best to use their tax refund to improve their financial well-being. The feature is driven by the bank's customer engagement engine, using artificial intelligence, machine learning and insights from customer activity to offer targeted notifications to eligible customers as soon as they receive their tax refund. Using our data and decision science expertise and also powerful customer engagement engines, which leverages 157 billion data points across customer interactions every day, we're able to offer personalised suggestions to encourage customers to think of ways to use their tax refund to work towards their financial goals as soon as the refund hits their account, Dr. McMillan said. The new feature in the CommBank app was first trialled last year, with more than 1 million customers sent digital prompts to encourage them to consider saving some of their tax refund or, where more relevant, make a credit card repayment. The trials showed that if the credit card nudge was rolled out to all eligible customers, this would result in more than $4 million in catch-up credit card repayments each year, and the results highlight that proactively contacting customers in a targeted manner and at the right time can help them to follow through on their intentions and make meaningful progress towards their goals, Dr. McMillan said. And when you consider the average tax refund is around $2,400, it is clear that tax time provides an ideal opportunity for many Australians to accelerate their financial goals, whether it's getting back on track with their debts, saving for a rainy day, or investing. With so many Australians impacted economically by COVID, we're making sure we're providing timely app features to help customers make informed financial decisions. Dr. McMullen said that the new app feature is another example of how CBA is applying powerful data and digital capabilities to reimagine products and services with the ultimate goal of offering customers the best digital experience globally. To which I replied, then why don't you proactively contact your mortgage holders and encourage them to switch to the best value products? Because a lot of people are still sitting on mortgage rates way above the best available. Now, that would be a digital nudge that would be worth something. But also, it is worth highlighting how big data is now being used by the CBA and other organisations to push people in particular directions. And the question, of course, is that really a good thing? Finally, Business Insider says that new data shows the global resignation trend is now working its way through the Australian labour force. As the pandemic makes workers reconsider their careers, 2 in 5 Australians are getting ready to leave their current roles within 6 months. With a lack of career opportunities and pay rises identified as the main drivers, employers are now under enormous pressure to retain staff. Australians are fed up with their jobs and looking elsewhere as the disruption of the pandemic forces workers to reevaluate their careers. Dubbed the Great Resignation, the trends have been characterised by an enormous spike in the number of staff leaving their jobs in the face of the pandemic. In the United States, the resignation rate is at a 2-decade high, as 4 million workers hand in their notice every month. New data from HR platform Employment Hero suggests a similar phenomenon is unfolding in Australia. Surveying local workers, 40% said that they were going to look for a new job within the next 6 months, while 15% were already actively looking to split from their current employer. More than 6 in 10 prospective job seekers said they were primarily motivated to leave by a lack of career opportunities or no pay rise. A lack of recognition from their bosses and poor company culture were also identified as contributing factors. But it's clear that for many, money remains the number one driver. Almost half said they would stay in their current position if they were offered an elusive pay rise, while just 1/4 would be swayed by a promotion. Handing out pay rises is not always feasible for businesses against the backdrop of the pandemic, but if businesses can afford to give their workers a salary increase, now is the time for them to take that action, Employment Hero Chief People Officer Alex Hatting said. The cost of turnover is high for businesses. It's better for them to shuffle funds now to stay in line with industry standards than to cop the costs later. This is especially true for the 30% of workers whose pay has not been reinstated after receiving a pandemic pay cut. Cheaper, albeit less effective options like handing out rewards and providing training to staff would help retain around 1 in 5 workers respectively. After years of stagnant wages, the pandemic has presented workers with serious negotiating power. While border closures have gifted some tech workers 6-figure raises, a major shift in the labour market dynamic has increased the pressure on employers to retain their existing workforce. 1 in 3 workers expect they'll bank a 10% raise if they change jobs, while around 1 in 4 are demanding a 20% jump. Mid-career workers aged 35 to 44 were the most expectant, disproportionately anticipating a 30% rise. The dynamic will place greater pressure on the bottom line of businesses, but it may also help to deliver the Reserve Bank of Australia the elusive wage growth it says is key to driving the economic recovery. Treasury figures previously show that for every 1% of the workforce that switches jobs, wages rise by 0.5%. Accordingly, if Australia was to return to job switching levels seen in the early 2000s, as is now the case in the US, This one factor alone would theoretically raise wages by 3% on pre-pandemic levels. As more Australians throw in their jobs, their reasons are many. While better opportunities are clearly luring them elsewhere, there's also a sense of job fatigue. A survey of 25 countries found Australian workers to be the most burnt out in the world, with around 1 in 2 employees having had to take mental health leave. With as many as 1 in 4 Americans having changed jobs since the beginning of last year, the writing is on the wall for those who don't cater to their workforce. Evidently, though, it's not just about money. 41% of workers said their job satisfaction is the most single important factor in making a career decision. Around 1 in 4 say flexible working arrangements are their priority. For businesses, there's no point in focusing on recruitment if they're not also considering retention, or vice versa. Employment Hero CEO Ben Thompson said, "The better a business retention strategy, the stronger their value proposition will be, the easier it will be to sell the business to great talent." Pushing for growth while experiencing high turnover can be disastrous. As retention drops, the pressure intensifies, triggering more turnover. It can be a vicious cycle, and it can cost a business thousands. From offering remote work options to implementing career development plans, Thompson said the only way to compete is to successfully retain and recruit. Ultimately, it comes back to refocusing away from the business itself and on to the people who drive it. Now, if you're buying your home in Sydney's contentious market, you don't need to stand alone. This is the time you need to have Edwin Almeida from Ribbon Property Consultants standing alongside you. Buying a property is both challenging and adversarial. The vendor has a professional on their side. Emotions run high, price discovery and price transparency are hard to find, and then there's the wasted time and financial investments that you make. Edwin understands your needs, so why not engage a licensed professional to stand alongside you? With RPC, you know you have experience, knowledge, and master negotiators looking after your best interests. So shoot Ribbon an email at info@ribbonproperty.com.au, and if you use the promo code DFAWTW/Martin, you can get a 10% discount offer. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.